morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning. Good morning, Joshua. Good morning. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. I need to check one thing. Hold on one second. Okay. Hope you guys are ready to get this morning started. I know I am. It's going to be a great, great day. It's going to be a good day. Good day. Yeah, my mother is here visiting. So we are doing all the things. I don't think she cares that we're working. I don't think it matters. So we're going to enjoy Mama today. So welcome to the Fearless Morning Show. Why you guys are down? Where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist of What Better Place to Be than here with me. Hope you guys enjoyed the show yesterday. I know I did. I always say that because I always enjoy the show. It's usually always something for me and or something I've learned, and I love to share. And sometimes I'm an oversharer. Does that make sense? Like I overshare things, but that's okay too. That is okay. Let me see what happens if I do this. And let's see if we can't get Instagram going. Oh. Okay. I pressed the wrong button. Sorry about that, y'all. Here we go. Press the wrong button. Here we go. Now, I won't press any more buttons. How about that? Welcome back to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Let's get this morning started and let me stop pressing buttons. How about that? So let me do the quick introduction. Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. Don't forget we have the podcast. We have all the books. We have the podcast is on 14 platforms, so you can find it somewhere. I'm sure it is, whether you have Apple or Android, it is everywhere. So you can you can listen to that, and it is simply the morning show over. If we don't do that, we do have 7 books that you're free to read, and you can read all of those either on Amazon. They're all on Amazon, Walmart.com, everywhere books are found. And with the podcast, we're on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora. We're everywhere. Podcasts are found as well. Don't forget, we have the movie The Last Time. So if your friends and family don't read, they don't listen to the radio, they don't listen to podcasts, they can watch the movie The Last Time with Mr. Tommy Ford in it. And that's Tommy from Martin. And I think in the Black community, we say Tommy, and everybody knows who it is. Go. Thank you for coming back, Joshua. I got button happy. Pressing the buttons. So my bad. So good morning. So today, y'all, the quote comes out of a book, U Squared, and it's called Get Ruthless About Trying Something Different. Get ruthless about trying something different. And I think we all need to, at some point, like for real, y'all, you need to get ruthless about trying something different. Because if we don't step outside the box to try something different, then we may find ourselves stuck in the same place, right? Stuck where we are, doing the same things, and not really seeing the result that we said we wanted. So to get ruthless about trying something different, that means you got to truly step outside of your box, step outside of your comfort zone, and do all the things. You have to do that. And if you're not willing to do that, there's a lot of things. And here's the thing, right, Joshua? We've got to be willing to try something. We've got to be willing to try a thing. And if we're not willing to try a thing, then for me, at some point, I've got to get down to the core of what's my purpose. Like, why am I here? Why am I doing this thing? Why is it important to me? And you have to understand that. Now you're free not to. You're free to say, you know what, JoJo, that's a little bit much. And I don't think it requires all of that, and I don't want to. You're free to think those thoughts. I'm just offering a suggestion or a solution for you to think something differently. So get ruthless about trying something different. Go all out about being different, about trying something different, about whatever that process looks like for you. Because eventually my question is going to become, I've tried everything normal. I've tried everything else. So when am I going to be ruthless about this thing? And like yesterday, I talked about you lack proof that you can succeed, meaning you can tell me that you can fail at a lot of things, but you don't have proof that you can succeed. And when you're going to get that proof? And you got to be ruthless in the pursuit of doing that. It may require you trying something different. So try something different today, friend. Okay? Just step outside your comfort zone. Try something different. Good morning, Crystal. Miss Lowe. So step outside of your comfort zone today, right? And get ruthless about trying something different. Get mad about it. Like, what are you going to? Like, this is what I'm going to do, and you stick with it. And there's no coming back from it. Like, you're sticking with it. So the thought of the day is illogical. And I was thinking, listen, I have read this book almost every day. It is literally 38 pages. And I get something every single day. The chapters are usually one paragraph or one page. And I don't know if y'all can see, but I have marked this thing up. And so this is where the quote comes from. In this chapter is ignore conventional approaches. And the quote is get ruthless about trying something different. And in here, he's talking about, that's why I'm going to use the word illogical today, and what that means and what it looks like. Because sometimes you got to think beyond what common sense would allow. And this is on page 12 inside the book. You got to think beyond what common sense would allow. Meaning, if you want to be ruthless about trying something different, sometimes common sense cannot be applied. I know we always say, common sense, everybody got some. Everybody don't. That's why everybody don't have common sense. But secondly, sometimes we've got to try something different and we've got to lay common sense aside. So I want us to do a square up exercise today. You back. Thank you for coming back, Tiffany. Thank you for coming back. So I want us to do a square up exercise about common sense. And Tiffany, I told him I read this book almost every day. And we're on page 12. We're talking about being illogical, and common sense, to think beyond what common sense would allow, and what that means. So common sense, when have I not applied it in my life? And I refuse to be logical in my approach to things. And so y'all know my story, so you can pretty much tell I have been illogical and not apply common sense to a lot of phases and places in my life. Meaning, there have been times when I couldn't look at common sense and do what I needed to do. There's just no way. Listen, I read them both. I read both of them. If y'all want some good books, these two, U Squared and the Quantum Leap Strategy, they're not long books, but I read them. They stay on my desk because I read something out of it every single day. Yeah, common sense is not common, and I don't know if that's a good thing sometimes, Joshua, because sometimes people need a little common sense. But I'm talking about when you are doing things outside of the normal, like when you are doing things that require a different you, like when you are doing things that require you to be just a little bit different than everybody else. So I want us to think beyond what common sense would allow. And as you square this up today, so get your piece of paper. Y'all, I have scrap paper here and I use it mostly. Well, I use it a lot, but we draw it here on the morning show a lot. And this time it's going to be in purple. Get your piece of paper, mental, emotional, physical, financial. And good morning, Margaret. Where have you applied common sense and it didn't work? Where have you tried to be logical about something and it didn't work? And you're like, well, I'm doing all the right things. I got the job I was supposed to get. I married the person I was supposed to marry. I had the children. I did all the things. And it still seems, where have you applied common sense and things have not worked out for you? Now, listen, I'm assuming we're all adults here, and there's a difference between you working with someone in your life and someone taking advantage of you, okay? That's just a given, right? So I want us to think beyond what common sense would allow. And in my life, because we always do confessions and conversations with JoJo, right, Margaret? There have been times when I had to refuse to think with common sense. I had to refuse to be logical in my approach to life to get a different kind of result. So that's why I chose the topic illogical for today, because at some point you've got to think so radically different than what you currently see that people will truly call you crazy. They won't. They're not going to know no other word to say to you. They're not going to know how else to describe you. They're not going to know nothing other than that JoJo, she crazy. You have to be illogical to your approach of what it is that you want to do. So as you square it up this morning, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, honey, and do your relationships, friendship, familyship, religionship, careership, whatever. Where have you tried your best to apply common sense and it has not worked? Sometimes, and if you read this book, and I'm learning, the secret is not to work harder. You've already worked hard. Now you're to the point where you're going to have to apply something different. You're going to have to be illogical with what you're trying to do. Working harder ain't getting it because you've worked hard. You've worked hard to get where you at, right? You've worked hard to have this job. You've worked hard to have this career. And now you're going to have to do something so radically different to get you to another place that you cannot apply common sense. You can't be logical in your approach. You got to be so far outside of that people will call you crazy. They say, you know, that JoJo, or insert your name, she real crazy. Sometimes the key is not working harder, friend. Sometimes the key is to be illogical, to not apply common sense. So as you square it up today and you look at where have you applied common sense and it has not worked, where have you been logical in your thought process? And this is what you say, surely the goodness, this will work. Surely the goodness, if I do it this way, this will work. And it's not been working. Yes, the industrial age is over, Margaret. So where have we been that person and it still hasn't worked? And it has not looked the way we want it to look. So common sense, and these are just some, y'all know me by now, you know the story, so y'all can probably tell me where I have not applied common sense myself, where I've not been logical in my approach. Sometimes, friend, we can't be logical. We got to be bold. We got to be radical. You got to cause a disruption. Remember, we talked about you a good ground, and it's not your fault that somebody planted bad seed, but the whatever is planted has to grow and be fruitful and multiply. But if you till the land and start to really plant what you want, right, then you're going to have a different fruit. Come on, Miss Craig. Good morning, Miss Joe. And it didn't work, Joshua, right? So sometimes we have to be illogical in our approach to what we want to do and what we want to achieve. For me, it was thinking differently. I could not apply my common sense to thinking differently because my common sense to thinking like everybody else was keeping me like everybody else. And we know JoJo wanted to be different. I finally understood that I was. And so me trying to apply common sense to me being different didn't work. So I had to think differently. I had to be logical. I couldn't take a logical approach to me thinking differently and being open-minded. Some of us are so afraid to change the way we think that we would rather die in the constraints that we have built than to think differently. You'd rather die in those constraints. You'd rather stay right there, friend. You want to stay right there and say, no, but this is the only mindset I know. And you'd rather stay there than to open up your mind and risk your brain oozing out of your ears. Because some of us we surely think if we think different, our brain is going to ooze out of our ears. Right, Margaret? So for me, I had to take a different approach to me thinking differently. Now, they will call you crazy. They call me crazy. I had to think differently and be illogical about how I was going to raise my family. They will call you crazy. Like, JoJo, you can't do that with them kids. Okay. And did. I could not apply common sense to how I was thinking. I couldn't apply common sense to how I was raising my family. I couldn't apply common sense to the religion because religion was putting God, which is greatness on display, inside of a box that him and I both knew he did not belong in. And the longer I tried to put God in that box, the longer my life suffered because I assumed if he did not bless me inside of that box, I could not receive whatever it was I needed to give because it didn't come in that box. The minute I took God outside of the religion box, the minute I did that, my life changed because now God was free. Oh, the minute I took God out of the box of religion, he was free. And the change was amazing, honey. Some of us are keeping God hostage. Right, Joshua. In order to evolve, we have to be willing to think differently with an open mind and heart. Listen, some of us are keeping God hostage because you want him in that box. And the minute you take him out that box is the minute things are going to change. So I could not apply common sense to religion, me, the way I was thinking. I couldn't apply it to my family. I could not apply it to my career. Couldn't apply it to my kids. I could not apply it to myself. I couldn't apply common sense to myself because the minute I did that is the minute I stopped living, even trying to live true to who I was or even thinking about it. So you got to be illogical about it. Sometimes you can't, you have to refuse to take a logical approach. So for me, when I left my ex-abuser, the illogical approach was to stay in the same city he was at, knowing he could easily find me. No common sense was applied there. None. The next one was when I left a good job, when I left IBM because I was stuck on the title, I couldn't apply common sense to there for leaving there to go to another job. Even though it was going to do making more money. Honey, it didn't make logical sense because it was dry. I had to drive further. Didn't necessarily have the gas to get there. The hours are different. Didn't necessarily have a babysitter for the kids to take them and pick them up from school. I could not apply common sense to that thought process. Could not. When I left Duke Hospital to work for a small law firm and took a $15,000 pay cut, but it was closer to home, better hours, and within 6 months, I made more than I made it do. I could not apply common sense. I had to take an illogical approach to that. When I lost my job, I applied no common sense with packing my children up and moving. There was no common sense applied there. I was not logical in my approach. I was not logical in my approach of saying, now listen, the process to get here, I did. I got them ready for school. We did all the things. I had my checklist. We packed it up and we moved. But common sense was not applied in that because common sense would have said, hey, you got a nice townhouse here, ma'am. Why would you pack up and leave? Why would you do that? Yeah, you don't have a job, but you got a master's degree. You've been in healthcare 18, 19 years. You can get a job. I applied no common sense. I refused to be logical in my approach. And when I refused to be logical in my approach, I got a different kind of result. And so when I moved, let me tell you, sometimes it takes a little step. And it may seem gigantic, ginormous to you. Yes, you do, Margaret. And we're thankful that you drive that crazy truck. Had I not moved, and please, I want you to apply this to yourself. Look at where you've not been logical in things, where you did not apply common sense. Had I not moved, there would be no books. There'd be no movie. There'd be no Tyler Perry Studios. There'd be no Oprah Network. There would be no movie. There would be no Live Past Crazy. There'd be no Fearless Morning Show. There would be none of that had I not moved. Had I not moved, there would be none of that. Period. At some point, you've got working harder ain't working. Working harder is not working. Sometimes it is going to take you being illogical about your next step. It's going to take you not applying common sense to move. It's going to take you somebody saying, you know what, you so crazy. I don't know why you even doing this. This is the craziest thing. Some of us need to apply that in our careers. We need to apply that inside of our families. We need to apply it inside of our mindset. We need not to use common sense with the next steps you want to go. Because it is It is that next step that is going to change your entire life. And if you don't believe me, try it and see. Try it and see. Try it and see. And then you can say, you know what? That JoJo crazy. And I tried it and it didn't work. I'll take that. Square it up today. Square up exercise. Mental, emotional, spiritual, financial. Where have you applied common sense and it has not worked? Where have you worked yourself to the bone and it still ain't worked? And you assume you got to work harder. But what it's really going to take is you being illogical towards your approach. Period. You ignoring the conventional and doing something different. You ignoring the conventional approaches. You ignoring what you've always done. You ignoring common sense and say, you know what, this is crazy, but I think this is what I'm going to do. And you jump all in. When are we going to do that to get that result that is going to be insane? When are we going to do that? I had to not be logical in my approach with my thinking. And people call me crazy with my thinking. And they still do. I was not logical with my family, my religion, honey, my career, the kids. The minute I took God out of the box of religion, God was free. God was free to do what he needed to do in my life the minute I took him out of the box. The minute I took the top off, the minute I took the constraints off. That's why I can call him God. I can call him the universe, the creator, because he is all those words encompassing. Period. Come on, Joshua. You and only you. And it took, and I'm sure they called you crazy. And sometimes, friend, you got to take the risk of being a crazy lady. You got to take the risk of it not making sense. You got to take that risk of nobody is fixing to understand what I'm about to do. Ain't nobody about to understand this, but I got to do it. And then be okay with what they're going to say to you when you step out there. JoJo, that's crazy. Okay. JoJo, that don't make no sense. Okay. JoJo, don't do that. Okay. And do it anyway. Listen to wise words, but I need you to get to the point where you trust your knower and you understand that you've got to take this next step. It's got to happen. Come hell or high water, because you've been in hell and high water. Come on, Joshua. I'm going to figure it out. I am. Now, you can call me a fool. You can call me crazy. But what you ain't going to say is she didn't try. There would be no Live Past Crazy specialist if I did not try. There would be no Author of the Year 2 years in a row. I wouldn't have been featured in a magazine in Thailand and in Great Britain. There would be none of that. And there's no difference between me, you, and anybody else in this world. We all understand our journey differently. We're all in different places in our journey. I'm just beginning. Right, Joshua? And I'm about to give it to honey. We about to go all out. Because working harder ain't getting it. That ain't working no more. I worked hard. I tried to be logical. I used common sense and nothing happened. So I had to step outside of that box. I had to take me outside of that box that I built. And some of us are afraid of that. And it's okay. Listen, I'm not saying I wasn't scared every time I was scared. And I was like, scared and all, we going. I don't even know what else to say. Yes, Margaret. Yes. Margaret loves Florida. And let me tell you something. Ever since I met Margaret, she's introduced me to some amazing people. Be mindful of the people you network with and you talk with. So think differently today. Don't apply logic. Don't be logical in your approach. It's not working harder. Working harder ain't got it yet. It didn't get it yet. Sometimes you can't apply common sense. You got to cause a disruption. There's got to be a revolution. You have to be illogical in your next step so that you can get that. And that may require you taking whomever you call, whatever religion you follow, God, Buddha, honey, taking them outside of that box so that they can do what they need to do for you. Honey, I respect all religions. You can do however you feel, friend. I don't care. I'm just trying to give you something that's going to help. And some of us are keeping God hostage, and we're allowing our religion to hold us hostage so that we don't do the very thing that we need to do. Honey, be the crazy lady today, okay? Be the crazy lady. Be the crazy man. Do the thing that's not common. I held a whole retreat in the middle of a pandemic. What common sense was applied there, friend? Please tell me where I applied some common sense to that. And having one again in October. It may look crazy. It may look insane. You may call yourself crazy. Honey, get that. The result that you want or the result that you're seeking is on the other side of you not applying common sense. It's on the other side of that. So on this lovely day, I want you to have the most amazing day ever. I want you to have the most amazing day. Absolutely, Joshua. And if nothing else, I lost so many friends and family that if you assume that you're safe with applying common sense now, honey, this pandemic ain't taught you nothing. Is that, honey, you better throw everything in and go all out. Because what if you don't get no more tomorrows? That was the quote was that yesterday's quote? No, that was in my memories. What if you get no more tomorrows? And we figured this part out. This world has taught us real quick, honey, you better throw it all in and go for what you know. Sometimes it ain't working harder that's going to get it. It's going to be you not being logical with your next approach. Didn't it, Joshua? I don't want you to be logical in your next approach. So today, as you square it up, right? Mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, where have you applied common sense and it has not worked? It has not worked. Where have you done that? And then flip it over. If you did not apply common sense, if you could be illogical about all of it, what would that look like? Come on, Kimberly. A to the men. A to the men. And it is a wonderful feeling when you do that, because now you don't have the restriction of you. You got out of your own way. Period. Good morning. Period. You got out of your own way. You were no longer a stumbling block to yourself. And it is the most freeing thing ever. So on this lovely day, I want y'all to have the most amazing day ever. Ladies, if y'all want to join me for the book club on Thursday, please let me know and I'll share that information with you. So you can, it is a Zoom. So we will, you can see me, I can see you. And we talk about book 1 and all the things about where I've not been logical. Come on, Joshua. Listen, get your partner in crime, friend. So today, the quote of the day, get ruthless about trying something different. Okay? The thought of the day is think beyond what common sense would allow. Well, really, the thought of the day is illogical because that's what we are. We're being illogical today. Think beyond what common sense would allow. Good morning, D. How you doing? And look, where have you been trying to apply common sense and it's not worked? There have been times in my life when I have refused to be logical in my approach. Period. I just could not be logical because I knew that if I was just crazy for a minute, meaning thinking outside of my box just for a minute, then maybe the result would be way different because what I'm doing ain't working. I sure will, Joshua. I sure will. I appreciate that. From this house that I live in, I did not take a logical approach to this. I watched it for a whole year and drove past it every day and told my kids, so we're going to live here. They was like, but mommy, I did not apply common sense. I went and bought boxes and I made them box up everything except for the clothes that we would wear over and over and over again. It's like, no, because we're moving into that place. But mama, I would call. Nobody would even answer the phone. It's like, it's okay. We're still moving in there. The day I called, the lady met me and gave me the place the same day. I could not apply common sense. I wasn't being logical. I just knew what, and sometimes you override what you know instinctively. You know, friend, go with that. Go with that. Don't apply common sense. Be illogical with something. Think ain't no way in the world it's about to happen, but I'm about to be crazy enough to think it can and do that thing. Listen, the only thing you can do is try. And it ain't never hurt nobody to try. Period. So I want you to think beyond your common sense this morning. Think differently. In your religion, your family, your kids, your career, yourself, period. So on this lovely day, I hope this has helped somebody today. If it has, please take what you need. If it has not, please leave it for somebody else. But listen, if you want a quick read, it's 38 pages. I read it every day. Either one of these two books. And this is the first one and this is the second one. And it is by Price Pritchett. Joshua said good morning. She said good morning. Thank you, Dee. I hope you're being safe out there. I hope you have a great day. So on this a lovely day, right? Those two books, I think they might be 38 pages each, if that. And the chapters literally are sometimes one page. The second book is only 35 pages long. It doesn't take much. So once you have a good day, please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, please send them over to the YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. Okay. Don't forget the podcast. We're on 14 different platforms. You can catch me on Pandora, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, honey, all your Apple devices, whatever device you got. Okay. Good luck, Joshua. I know you'll complete it. Okay, please make sure you do that. And if they don't do that, they can read one of the 7 books or watch the movie. Okay. The Fearless Morning Show notebook is almost done so that you can take your own notes for the Fearless Morning Show. Okay. And I will post the book club information today as well. So I hope you have a great day. That's Rosie. You want to say good one?
I put my finger up so you wouldn't ask me that question.
Okay. Not bad. All right, guys. I hope you.
Where's my hand?
Right there. That's Rosie saying good morning, y'all. So I want you guys to be peaceful, period. I want you to have the most amazing day, okay? That's what I want for you guys. And if you share the show, please let me know. Please tell me so I can properly tell you thank you. And hopefully this has helped somebody today. If it has, please let me know so I know that I'm not talking to myself. And as always, be peaceful, period, y'all. Go out and enjoy that sunshine. Be radical in your thought process today. Don't apply common sense or be illogical today. Don't apply logic. Don't work harder today. Do something different today. All right. Have a great day. And I'll see you guys here bright and early tomorrow morning.